Okay, now that we've done our driving for dollars and we've found a few properties we'd like to look up, take a look at, possibly make offers on, what we're going to do prior to making that contact or the dialing for dollars, and sometimes it is a letter, it's not always phone calls, but we're going to look up this property online. And the first thing we're going to do is use Zillow. Zillow is really good for showing you pictures, usually almost always pictures on Zillow, and we can also see what the property sold for and when it sold. Now, Zestimates, pretty much want to ignore those. Part of the reason why is they just group everything together, and no matter if it's a comparable property or not, they just put all the numbers in and give you the average. So it's really not very accurate when it comes to figuring out what a property is actually worth. But it is really nice to be able to see the picture. If you remember from Driving for Dollars, that was the one right on the corner. So the next step is we're going to go to probably our favorite tool called METR Online. And I've already pre-opened a couple of windows just to save time because my internet connection is really slow today. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to click Public Records Online. And then you're going to get a map of the U.S. You're going to click on the state, and it'll bring you to this page. And from this page, you need to open up the county that the property is located in. In this case, it's Atlanta, so I know it's Fulton County. So from there, I'm going to go to the Fulton County's Assessor's Office. I'm going to click on to search property records. And this is what's going to come up when I type in 984 Sims, which is the address of that property. Now, as you see, there's two. That happens a lot here in Atlanta. So when you're actually out driving around for dollars, make sure you actually get the street or the avenue or the address exactly so you know which property it is. In this case, this is the one. So I'm going to open up this record here, and what I'm going to see is the owner. I'm going to see their mailing address. What I'm also going to see is it's different from the actual property address. So that tells me it's an investor. Now I can also sell by an LLC, but this is really the giveaway because sometimes people don't create LLCs, they buy them in their own name, and this is just an easy way of figuring that person doesn't live there. So now what I can do from here is scroll down, and I can see the sales history. So I know from Zillow this person bought it for $53,000, but what's the actual history on the property? And if we can see back in 2005, this house sold for $275,000 on a warranty deed. So we can also see there was a foreclosure, and on that there was another foreclosure. Then an investor picked it up and flipped it to another investor. They flipped it to another investor who has finally flipped it to this ROM Rentals. Now what's interesting, the name ROM Rentals, I'm assuming they're in the rental business. This house is vacant. Now I also know by doing a search, again through the same site, instead of by property name I searched by owner, or property address I searched by owner, and I know they own 5 other properties in that area, all of which are not being rented because I found them when we were doing our Driving for Dollars. So as a rental company, they've got a lot of properties they're not renting. That says to me they might be willing to have a conversation about selling their properties. So what I'm going to do from here then is I'm going to Google this ROM LLC, see if I can find contact information. Now I may not be able to find their phone number. Depends on how big the investor is, whether or not they actually publish a phone number. A lot of them do, some of them don't. If they don't, you can send them a letter, but not the typical yellow I buy properties letter. You're going to send them a marketing letter, and you're going to give them specifics. I was driving by your house on such and such. I noticed it's not being rented right now. Would you be interested in possibly selling that? Now, the other thing we're going to do is look at the parcel map because we want all of our facts before we go calling this company. And we know looking at the parcel map, and if you remember the street way back at the start, well, not way back, it's not a big street, there were some new houses. So we can click on these houses and we can actually look at what they sold for. So in 2013, this one sold for $39,900. This one here, 2014, sold for $55,000. And remember, that was a brand new house. This one here is obviously a typo. It did not sell for $22 million, but probably 22, and it had already sold prior to that for 25. So we can go back up and look at the property on the corner, which was our target property, and we know it's probably not worth what they paid for it, considering properties that are brand new just down the street sold for approximately what they paid for their property. And that's the kind of information you want, that's the kind of research you want to do before you start making those phone calls. You want to know everything you possibly can, and then you go in and make the call and start asking questions. Do they want to sell? Are they a motivated seller? Are they not a motivated seller?